there's a familiar story there from anybody who was a kid at that time, seeing these parties in Caribbean neighborhoods, um, listening to reggae music for the first time, and running in and out of your uncles and aunties' legs, trying to get to the chicken. You know, someone gives you gives you a little alcohol that you shouldn't have had.
Yeah.
You know, you're a little tipsy. They find you asleep in a corner somewhere with a chicken bone in your mouth.
Oh, man. Hey everybody, Raphael Harry here. You're listening to White Label American. On this show, we dive into unique and diverse origin stories from immigrants and allies. Join us weekly as we break barriers, connect the past with the present, and peek into the future. Welcome to another episode of White Label American. Thanks for sticking with us from day one to year 6 of this podcast. I'm your host, Raphael Harry, and it's always a pleasure to bring you each episode of this podcast. If you are new here, welcome. Stay a while and invite your friends, even your enemies. We accept it. Just don't tell them. You know how to figure it out. But you can invite everybody and your loved ones. If you have a secret family, invite them. I ain't judging you. There's always room for more listeners. We'd love to hear from you, so stay tuned for how to get in touch. Your support means the world to us. So I'm honored to have a legend. Yeah, this is a legend that we have in the studio today. And this episode is going to take us through a lot of storytelling. And we're going to be going across the ocean to a country that, and when those of you who know me through sports, through the soccer world, you know that I don't support the country that we're going to go to today. But outside of that, when it comes to movies, one of my favorite of all time comes from that same country. So, that's how you know I'm a complicated human being, which that's how you know I'm human. I'm not an AI, right? So, with that being said, I have the huge honor of talking to a storyteller today. He's appeared in music videos tied to some of, um, you know, some greats out there, and from Soul to Soul. Damn, what's the name again? Uh, Roots, Roy Ayers, MC Guru, Bjorn. Man, he's interacted with a bunch of people. He's DJ'd, he's written, he's man, he dances. So when we get to the question that involves dancing, that's like we already solved that equation. So I have the pleasure and honor of having Kev Manning in the studio today. How are you doing, my brother?
I am doing pretty well, Raphael. Pretty well indeed, sir. I'm a little bit stressed because I'm trying to find a place to live, as I told you.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's it's good. But you know how stressful trying to find a new place can be.
Yes, I can relate to that, especially in New York City. And
Mhm.
hopefully, I put word out there, and by the time I put this recording out, hopefully we would have gotten some good news on that
Boom.
front. Yeah.
Boom.
So,
Wait, what was the film?
it was 007.
Ah, which one?
Man,
What's your favorite? Who's your favorite Bond?
I gotta go recency bias. Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because at first I didn't like him when he was cast. I was like, oh, they got a blonde dude. And then, when I saw Casino Royale, I was like, man,
He proved himself.
man, that opening scene, that was it. I was sold. They got me. They got me with that. Just the opening scene of Casino
He was a
Royale.
good Bond.
Yeah,
He was a good Bond.
And rest in peace, that Bond, because that was
Yeah.
the first Bond. I said, oh no, they got him. He but he did. Hearing him talk about the character afterward, I was like, yeah, it made sense. You was born for the modern times,
Mm.
and he brought changes that are going forward. I think they will make that adaptation that he wanted to the character, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see the evolution of Bond.
Oh yeah,
I think he encapsulated the evolution more than anybody else. But
about
my
Sean
favorite
Connery
Bond,
brought me into the game.
my favorite Bond is Sean Connery. You know what I mean? Like I can't lie.
Yeah.
Sean's still my favorite. He's still the smoothest to me.
Yeah, I think there's a universe out there where I got it right with mimicking Sean Connery's accent. Because when I
Can
saw
you?
his
You can
movies,
do.
I was like, I want to sound like this man. I want to speak like him. That was it. But with time, I will lose that. I will lose interest in achieving that goal. But as soon as I heard him speak, I was like, this is it. I want to sound like James Bond. And then I
Mhm.
would see, oh, wait, there's another Bond? Wait, there's a different person playing Bond? Wait a minute, Sean Connery? Wait, I thought it was only Sean Connery that was Bond forever. I never realized as a kid then that,
It
actors
would
get old.
change. Yeah.
And they can recast the role. Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, man. I saw the first. I was like, oh, I didn't realize they had tapes in the house of multiple Bond movies. I can't remember which one was the first that I saw, but all I knew was Sean Connery. And I said, I want to sound like
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then Roger Moore. I saw Roger Moore's movie and I was like, wait, he don't look like Sean Connery. What
Yeah.
happened here? And
Yeah.
that was my introduction to being recast.
There was a big change between Connery and Moore.
Yeah. Well, we've given. I think it's been the cat's out of the bag now. People already know where we're talking about. So, with that being said, can you introduce the audience to your place of birth and what childhood was like for young Kev?
Well, I was born in London, in North London, a place called Tottenham. Tottenham, not Tottenham Court Road. Everyone gets that confused.
What's the difference?
Tottenham Court Road is in central London,
Okay.
or the West End, as we refer to it. And Tottenham is a borough that's far out. It's that kind of place where at the end of the night, if you party in central London, at the end of the night, when people are getting lifts home, nobody wants to give you a lift home to Tottenham because it's too far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll give you a lift part of the way, but not all the way. You know? So yeah, I grew up in Tottenham, working class. It was a working class neighborhood. Very mixed. Caribbean, strongly Caribbean, and white and working class, and discovered a love of music through my brother. Discovered a love of the stage through school. And eventually, I started to go to clubs. While I was at school, and at school I was doing drama. I was doing plays and getting lead roles and stuff like that.
From what age?
Ooh, from about my first play, I think I was around 8. Yeah, at St Paul's and All Hallows in Tottenham.
Okay.
After that, I went to St David and St Catherine's in Hornsey. And that was like a different planet from Tottenham. Tottenham was very working class and down to earth, and Hornsey was a little bit more middle class.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
got introduced to a whole other demographic of children. So trying to sort of integrate where I was coming from and find that common ground was interesting. But at school, I went into drama, and as I got older in school, I discovered clubs. Started to go to clubs and would dance at clubs. At the same time, I'd be sneaking into my brother's bedroom and listening to his records and praying to God that I didn't scratch them. You know what I mean? If I
Yeah,
scratched one of his records, that's a time bomb. That's a time bomb just waiting to go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still remember the terror, bro. I still,
you know what?
the fear, but I had to listen.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that terror of listening to records and not scratching them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the CD did something and kind of replaced that, and so it's like, oh, all the CDs that you think, oh yeah, I didn't want to scratch a CD, and then I forgot about, yeah, you know, I did not want to scratch vinyl because you play them and then, oops.
Exactly.
Then, did I scratch? Oh, that. Yeah. If something happened, there was nobody in the house, and you silently put it back, then push it into the middle of the park, and, act like nobody, and then whoops, and I'm going to read my book right now, and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So. It's like not only are you like scratched your brother's record, but I was in his room. I wasn't even supposed to be in his room. You know what I mean? You know, so the crimes just pile up. Multiple indictments.
Yes.
You know? So yeah, put the music with the dancing and started to go to clubs. I was taken to clubs actually by like there was a group of older kids, mixture of black and Greek kids.
Wow.
And because blacks and Greeks used to hang together back in the day, and there were a lot of Greek kids in the neighborhood, families, and so they took me to my first nightclub. You know what I mean?
Okay, we'll come back to that.
No, not my first nightclub, but the first time I went out.
Yeah.
With like some older guys. You know what I mean? My dad owned a nightclub. So I was in there, you know.
Okay, plot twist.
Yeah. Plot twist.
Okay, we'll come back to those. We'll come back to that. But
yeah,
staying with your childhood.
Yes.
Going back to the very beginning.
Yes.
What's the meaning of your name or your names? And is there a story behind how you came to have those names?
Well, no, I don't really know. Where my parents got the idea to name me Caven. Caven.
Okay.
You know, from what I can find about the sort of lineage of the name, it comes from islands. Comes from islands. The meaning of the name Caven, it means handsome one.
Well, fits.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, could have been worse. You know what I mean? It could have been ugly one. Yeah, could have been all right one. Yeah, I mean, that's as far as I know about. Really, that's as far as now I know about my first name, Caven. I know that there's a town in Ireland called Cavan, Cavan,
okay,
instead of En, which is what I am. But yeah, I mean, my parents are both from Jamaica. They left Jamaica in the 60s and came to the UK. My father was like a race car driver in Jamaica. Stacked up his money and came to the UK because the UK were offering many opportunities.
Yeah, what was that group called again?
Windrush Generation.
Windrush Generation.
Offering many work opportunities and stuff, and you know, come to England. The streets are paved with gold, and you know, that whole craziness. And they got to find that the streets were paved in concrete like everywhere else. You know, and the reception wasn't so warm for them.
No,
you know, they were detested. I mean, this cycle has happened too many times throughout history.
That's right.
You know, the latest people to arrive, they're hated. The latest people to arrive are going to take all your jobs.
Yeah.
You know, the latest people to arrive are, you know, they're a threat.
That's true.
It perpetuates and perpetuates and perpetuates. And here we are, still talking the same stuff.
Same stuff.
You know? But anyway, my parents came to England in the 60s. My dad set up a construction company. And my mum worked as well, and she ran the household. You know, they were making inroads, very determined. My dad did really well. And eventually he bought a property and had a club in the basement and a hairdressers on the ground floor and a restaurant on the floor above that, you know?
Yeah.
Straight entrepreneur. So in my youth, in my early teens, I'd go to the club. It's called the 777.
Wow.
In Hackney, Stoke Newington.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah, it's around for quite a long time. A lot of people know it. You know, I'm always surprised when people were like, "The 777 was your dad's," you know, because they used to hang out. It's like one of their first places that they went to too.
Yeah.
As well, you know. But yeah, I used to sort of pick up glasses in there and entertain people. You know, I was just there. I'd entertain people. You know, I had my little dance routines and stuff like that. And before the DJ would come, I'd DJ. I'd put records on, you know, until my dad chased me off.
Oh man. So
those were the beginnings, man. And
my next question, still tied to childhood, but I have a feeling that you might have already answered this question. However, I still have to ask it. So, sticking with childhood, and I will limit it to, let's see, age 13. So, from baby to age 13. At this moment, what would you consider your favorite childhood memory to be?
Ooh, honestly, maybe Christmas.
Why?
I used to love Christmas in our house. You know, my mum would go all out. Like the house would be so vibrant. You know, the food. You know, the fact that everybody would be there. The whole family would gather, and I just remember it being a really happy time. You know, the smells coming from the kitchen. You know, yeah, I just remember being happy. Those times being very happy and feeling blessed. Feeling blessed. Those are that's some of the strongest memories for me. Helping my mum cook all these things, you know, and spending so much time in the kitchen with her and being excited for what I knew, the feast that I knew that was coming, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Till 13, what else? Maybe my first heartbreak.
Wow.
I think my first heartbreak was in there, in that situation. The first time I fell in love with a girl and was heartbroken. That's definitely in there. That was major.
Okay, that's the first on the podcast.
That was major for me.
Yeah, I like that you put that in there because, I don't think anybody has come up with the first time they fell in love and heartbreak being favorite. So why would you have that as a favorite memory?
Because yes, there was heartbreak, but there was all the sort of feelings of joy and bliss,
Yeah,
and happiness and that kind of rush of love. You know what I mean? That I hadn't experienced before. You know, overwhelming feeling, which was followed by the exact opposite. You know, just as powerful, but all on the other side of the scale.
Yeah.
You know, I okay, so I fell in love with this girl at school, this Greek girl, right? And she didn't know anything about it. And one day I was like, I think I'm gonna write her a poem and express my feelings, you know? So I wrote this poem, took me ages to write it, you know what I mean? And then the day came, it was like the day came, zero hour, you know what I mean? It's time to sort of give it to her.
Yeah.
So I, you know, through the classroom telegraph, the note got passed, you know what I mean? And ended up on her desk. And I was like, it was torture, man. Like out the corner of my eyes, sort of like seeing what's going on. Now she's got it. Oh my God, she's got it. Is she going to read it now? Is she going to read it later?
Man.
Oh my God, she's reading it now. Now? Why are you reading it now? Don't read it now. She's opening it. Oh my God, she's opening it. She's reading it.
Oh man, that's
she's reading it. She's reading it. And then she smiled. You know,
that's a good sign.
I was like, that's a good.
That's a good
smiling.
sign.
She's smiling. She's smiling. You know, and then she looked over.
Hey.
You know, and I was like, I think that maybe that was a success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I was thinking, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
In the world.
I want to get ahead of myself. But it looks like I might have bagged that one. So she was very taken by the poem. And that put a couple seeds in my mind. One, do not underestimate the power of words. All right. I fell in love with words at the same time.
Wow.
You know, I'd always been sort of like, loved to read and stuff. But I was like, okay. I didn't, you know, I wasn't a confident, some kind of confident, you know, dude at school, jock.
Yeah.
You know, no, I wasn't that. I was, you know, chubby and the funny guy, you know, but I wasn't a magnet for the attention of girls at all. You know, so I was really taking a risk here, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. Well, not your appearance, but the reaction. Because I'm recalling the first time I ever wrote something to a girl, and I'm also remembering when a friend had me deliver his letter to a girl, but he plagiarized. Who sang the song? I'm Your Lady. Yeah, you're my man. He flipped it to I'm your man and you're good. You're my lady.
Not enough distance. Man.
He maybe started a new policy back then that anybody hands me a letter, I gotta read it first because when the girl read the letter, the girl was like, "No, you're not going anywhere." She was with her friends. Like, I gotta read this letter. And they started laughing right in front of me. I was like, "Oh, I'm not the one who wrote the letter." And she's like, "But you delivered it." And
you didn't proofread it before you gave it to her. Ooh,
and she was like, "I know this song this is a song that the guy copied, by the way." I was like, "Oh
no,
oh man, damn." I turned and looked around. I saw the guy jumping over the fence. He jumped over the school fence. He was good.
Did you ask him to write it for you?
Oh.
Did you ask him to write it for you?
No. He gave me the letter to deliver to the girl.
He was the one who was interested in it.
Yeah, he wrote the letter, and I was like, "What the hell did this boy write?" I feel like I'm the one whose rep is being tarnished here. And when I look behind, I just saw him
Climbing the
jumping over the
fence.
fence. He was running. He was running for his
Out of
life.
there. He's out of there.
If he saw that girl coming, he'll make a U-turn and go take the different gate.
Once he saw them break out into laughter, he was like,
as soon as she saw him for 2
That
weeks
fence
straight,
ain't
she
that
just
tall.
started busting out laughing. And, yeah, she made fun of me for like 2 years because of that letter. I was like, girl, I'm not the one who wrote the letter. I didn't proofread it. That's my mistake.
you were just helping out your friend.
Oh man, I was like, no. After that day, anybody brought a letter to me, hey man, can you deliver this letter to the girl? And I'm like, hold on. I got her. What did you write here? And that's how I stopped one guy who copied Songs of Solomon. Because he copied his from Songs of Solomon. Because I was reading, I was like, this sounds familiar. I was like, why are you describing what her breasts look like? And I was like, have you had a conversation with this girl? Oh, no. I was like, this word, why the wording is so familiar? Oh, it's from the book of Solomon. Songs of Solomon in the Bible. It's like, man, it's not going to happen twice. We're not doing this twice.
You went back to the original source.
Go write something you want to tell her. Man. Go,
something a little bit more current.
Get back to work.
Something a little bit more current, my friend.
I mean, it was, for us, it was, I don't know, I wasn't, I did copy from songs, but you threw in your own words in there. You mix it up. So, that was a shortcut around it. And by the way, listeners,
mine came off the dome, son. Mine came off the dome.
I think for a lot of us, some of us did that. I think it was part of the way of finding ourselves. But at the same time, I think that was our introduction to don't just go copy an artist's work and put it in there and say, because that boy's letter was long, the one who wrote the first letter. I said, actually, he probably wrote like 3 songs in there because it was like this long letter. I still remember how long it was. And I was just like, because
he wrote a compilation album.
Yeah, he wrote an album. But it was kind of an album. Everybody knew the songs. So it's not like, I don't know this. So if you pick a song, at least somebody doesn't know. It's not playing every day on the radio, but these were songs that they were playing every single
10
day.
10 out of 10 for guts.
Oh, man. But anyway,
a lower score for creativity.
For the audience, if you guys, share your stories. Let me know what you guys did, how it worked for you. If you received the letter or you wrote a letter, let us know. What did you guys do? How did you guys go about yours? Were you composers? Did you plagiarize? Don't worry, we won't report you to your teachers. But the statute of limit, it's gone past statute of limits. So you're good for now.
You're good. We want to see those young love letters.
If you want to send the letters in, send them in. But, let's see how great some of you were. Little Shakespeare's and
Raphael won't laugh.
I won't laugh. No. And I won't let that girl read the letter. Well, she's a grown woman now, probably 5 kids.
No names.
Yeah, no names. No names shall be mentioned. Don't worry. I won't let your husbands know, by the way, or your pastors. Oh, man. So, was it before you wrote that letter, you had been introduced to storytelling? Or what do you remember to be your first story that was impactful to you?
Wow. The first impactful story.
Yeah. And it could come from any medium. It doesn't matter.
Really, I would say that the stories that really hit me hard were those movies that were coming out at those back in the day when I was young. Those, in Technicolor. You know what I mean? Panoramic vision. You know what I mean? Those movies, like, those big budget movies from back in the day. Spartacus. Like Cleopatra. I used to love those movies and those stories. All of that early storytelling. From black and white movies with Humphrey Bogart to the full color adventures that they used to have with, Burt Lancaster or or Kirk Douglas or whoever,
Yeah.
those big stars were. And also the comedies with Jack Lemmon and Marilyn Monroe. I just feel like the storytelling back then was exquisite. You know, you had some really, really good stories told well, um, which has, I'm not complaining about. I'm not complaining about the present movie making system. Really, there's still fantastic movies being made, but I do have a soft spot for old old Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, Sidney Poitier and you know people like that. James Dean.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that era of storytelling. But also like, you you asked me before like favorite memories. One of them is definitely the parties that used to happen in my house that my mum and dad used to throw. And those parties felt like a story in themselves,
In what
you
ways?
know. Well, like I would visualize like the way that the guys would dance and they'd have like the kerchief in their back pocket and they'd take
Oh.
the kerchief out and mop their brow when they're dancing to the reggae music. And it seemed very sort of like Tudor England to me. You know what I mean? It had this sort of like essence of that pomp and peacocking that you used to get centuries before. You know what I mean? Like Elizabethan times when the people used to dance on the floor and use their handkerchiefs, and there's like I felt that there's like a link from that age to this age, but this is like the new black Tudor Renaissance, you know? So I feel like there's a story there. There's a familiar story there from anybody who was a kid at that time, seeing these parties in Caribbean neighborhoods, um, listening to reggae music for the first time, and running in and out of your uncles and aunties' legs, trying to get to the chicken. You know, someone gives you gives you a little alcohol that you shouldn't have had.
Yeah.
You know, you're a little tipsy. They find you asleep in a corner somewhere with a chicken bone in your mouth.
Oh, man. Yep, that was one way to get busted. That sleep.
That's always the way to get busted, man.
That sleep is unbeatable. That's one of the best sleep ever. Yep, that's I think that thing is kind of universal, man. The kids, and I still remember. Yeah, I do remember sneaking in. Like, I knew my mom was drinking.
Way past bedtime.
Yep,
Dancing.
They were having some parties.
Yes, dancing with your cousins.
I see my mom's cup. I knew she was drinking Guinness stout. I got for some reason, I got Coke in my hand. Like, I got my Coke cup, and I was like, if I pour a little of that Guinness into the Coke, it's black, right? We're black, so nobody would know that I'm drinking Guinness.
Exactly.
I was like, what?
See-
I was 4 or 5 and drank it, and boy, it was bitter. So I finished my Coke, I poured the whole thing into my mouth and drink it. And man, I don't even know where I passed out. But yeah, but the next day in school, I was telling kids, like, man, I drank Guinness, poured some Guinness in my Coke and drank it, and they're like, what? Oh man, you just like, yeah, I was like, yeah, this is the man. He's the real man. Like, oh man.
Can I come to one of your parties next time?
I didn't tell you. I was like, bitter. It's very bitter, but I was like, I drank it all.
Man things.
I didn't mention the sleep part, but
Man things.
left the sleep part out of it. But yeah, sound like like I drank a whole put the whole bottle in my mouth and was drinking the whole bottle. Like, yeah, right.
Didn't even affect me. Didn't even affect me. I still dance the night away.
It's when you run into somebody was at the party how many decades later, like, oh, I remember this boy. The boy was sleeping at that party. He fell asleep at I was like, man, that's how you remember me? God damn, man. That was like 30 years ago.
We've all been that kid.
Yeah. I remember
we have all been that kid. Trust me.
That's why you be like, God damn. Damn, I thought I got away with it. Nah. Everybody knew.
Afraid not, sir.
Everybody knew.
There might even be pictures.
Good thing no cell phones.
There might even be photos.
There might be photos, but yeah, probably
sketches. Then
it's ruined.
Sketches.
Woo, that's why I'm glad there was no social media and there was no cell phones back then. Because they would have Twitter. Tweet it out.
Here I come.
So, I don't have a mattress or vitamins to sell you. Still, I've got something even better. Behind the scenes bonus episodes with full videos available exclusively on Patreon for just $3 a month. Yeah, that's cheaper than that fancy cup of coffee. Whether you're a capitalist, socialist, or however you identify, you can even be demure. Feel free to contribute what feels right. You'll be supporting a great cause, helping me improve content, and maybe even enjoying that seasonal pumpkin spice latte. Don't you just love pumpkin spice season? Go straight to patreon.com/whitelabelamericanpod. So, we already know how you got into DJing and your influences for storytelling. What was your official moment of dancing? Like the dance you learn at school, is it the same type of dancing that you get into professionally?
Beginnings of, yeah. Like when I first started to go to clubs on my own.
Mm-hmm.
This is after the phase when I was hanging out with older boys.
Yeah.
There were clubs that I wanted to check out. I kept hear about, and I didn't have anyone to go with. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on my own. And I went to the Electric Ballroom in Camden Town where George Power and Paul Anderson were DJing. And there was a very stern woman at the door. And somehow I'd gotten like this ticket where you get in free before a certain time.
Oh, and have a ticket.
Yeah. And she was looking at everybody's tickets and taking forever to look at it. She's seen this ticket 1,000 times, but she's looking so slowly, and the queue, everybody's like, 10 minutes till the ticket expires. 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
She was from the future. She was making sure you guys, man, is this AI or is this real? She knew.
I remember that tension in the queue. And then I got in there and my mind just exploded, man. Like I already could dance. Like I'd been to other clubs and places, and I was definitely uninhibited when it came to like getting my groove on. But I didn't consider myself anything, I was just another person dancing. But when I went to Electric Ballroom and I saw what people were doing in there, I was like, I'm a disciple. Now I'm a disciple. I am committed to the faith of boogie.
All right.
And that's what it was all about back then. It was boogie, boogie music. That came, boogie music and early electro were kind of dropping at the same time at that stage. Boogie music was kind of like the offshoot of jazz funk, you know. But a little jazz funk and a little electro mixed kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of boogie music was along those lines, and then there was straight electro, and I saw people like doing moves and really focused on the dance floor in a way that I hadn't really I'd seen before, but this was like the high church of dancers. You know, a lot of great dancers, man. And I was just like, oh my God, this is me. And so for the next few years, I was all about Electric Ballroom. Um, Paul Anderson, may he rest in peace, was, you know, a massive DJ in the UK who I've been to his parties before Electric Ballroom a couple times, but this was the party that really was like, oh, now I know. Now I know how it all came together to me, like his music and the way he played it and how people reacted. I'm like, oh, this is his main gig, you know, and for good reason. Like it was such a, you know, dynamic atmosphere in Electric Ballroom back then. I was hooked. And then you had all the boogie and electro people downstairs, and then upstairs you had the jazz dancers.
Oh,
another discipline altogether.
the same venue.
Same venue.
Wow.
You know, different style of music, very fast paced and organic sound. You know what I mean? Not the electro vibe. This is organic sounding, and
so
you know.
At this venue, was the crowd mixed, or was it like one demographic, or?
Very mixed crowd. Very, very mixed crowd. All kinds of races and backgrounds, and sexes. This was in Camden, so it's still pretty like, you know, it's still pretty local at the, you know, local vibe. It wasn't like going to the West End. West End was another, you know, central London.
Yeah.
Is another vibe again. It was still kind of felt local, but it also felt like felt cutting edge in a way, you know.
Like ahead of his time?
Little, yeah, ahead of its time, or for me, right on time. Okay. You know. Then I was going back to school, telling people about where I'd been, you know, and how, you know, they were like, you went to Electric Ballroom? Yeah, man, I went to Electric Ballroom, man. You know, it was fantastic, and I really had a good time, you know, because nobody went to places on their own, really.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, wasn't it dangerous, like, for you going on your own?
Nah, you know, I kind of eventually.
I don't mean dangerous, like you were gonna get stabbed or anything, but like just you leaving.
I honestly didn't feel like I was in danger.
Okay.
And that's me. It's not like things didn't happen there to people. I guess, you know, I just was lucky that my vibe was just giving off the thing of just leave him. You know what I mean? I guess.
I mean, but you still got that vibe. That's why I was like, I gotta bring you here when I met you. So I can see it back there.
But over the, you know, after like 2, 3 times, 4 times being there, I already met people.
Nice.
You know, I already met people. At the time, there were no trains after like midnight. So we'd be coming back home on the night bus, and there'd be a crew of us going in the same direction, you know, and that became the crew that would then meet at Electric Ballroom and then go to other places together. You know?
So wait, I thought when I visited London for the first time in 2015, and there was no trains after midnight, I thought that was like I thought it was a recent thing. So London been like that for a long time. Man, that's right.
London was like that forever,
Yeah,
bro.
I
It
mean,
only like when did it become the underground became 24 hours maybe 4 years ago, something like that.
yeah. That's true. I think I saw that headline. I was like, yeah, I probably missed out on a relationship because of that. I was like, man, I can't do. I'm coming from New York.
You let that stop you, bro? We used to
Nah, it's like, nah, I can't be doing 24. I don't like buses. I don't like taking the bus.
I got
And
to
I
know
couldn't ride bicycles.
I got to know London via 1 girls and 2 buses. You know, if a girl lived in South London,
Yeah.
we'd have to find the bus to get there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I ended up
That's
taking
how I
the
got to
bus.
know London. That's exactly how I got to know London. North, south, east, west. You know,
I'm the opposite. I don't know. The trains are
going
how
to
I get to know
parties and
places.
girls.
I mean, girls still make me know places. I ain't gonna
Definitely,
lie.
definitely. You know.
So, how did you get into your first dance, your first music video?
My first music video, I think, was Soul to Soul Fair Play video, which was Fair Play came out first. It was like a club underground smash,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the tune that crossed them over to the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tune that put them on the map. And Soul to Soul used to have a Sunday night party in the West End at a place called Africa Centre. And by this time, I, people knew I could dance. You know, I like had a reputation by this time as being a good dancer. I'd formed with 2 of my other friends. Together we formed the Company Boys, and we all had blonde hair.
Ah, okay. So I think
We all had blonde hair.
I-
We were dancers.
I was going to ask you if that was you that I saw in the video.
Yeah.
Now I recognize.
Yeah. So, I think for some reason, like Mark, the guys I was with in the company, Mark and Brian, they weren't around for that Fair Play video. I don't know why, but I went down there and just it was basically set up like a club, and you went in and you danced, and you know, didn't feel like a video shoot in a lot of ways. Just felt like another night out, you know.
Oh, wow.
And but it was a video shoot, and I can be seen in Soul to Soul's Fair Play getting down with my blonde head.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed. I was like, there's a
My
guy in blonde hair.
lollipop head.
I was like, huh. I was like, nah, that can be.
You
Ken.
noticed me?
I was like,
You saw the blonde hair?
I saw the blonde hair. I was like, is that him? Nah, I wasn't sure. I was like, I gotta ask you to go.
Yeah, I think that was the first video. But like when we started the Company Boys, we were in so many different things. You know, we were in so many videos. So many fashion shows. We toured the world.
And why did you pick the name Company Boys? I mean, it's a cool name, by the way.
Right, it speaks to middle management in some in some in some business, and they've been like, that's what they've done for the years, but we wanted to flip it. Like, yeah, we're the new Company Boys.
Nice.
You know, we're breaking the boundaries in this industry, in this business,
Nice.
So we turned it from something that's pretty bland in a way to something interesting.
Have you thought about writing a script or something based on
based on those days.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I think you got something there.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of adventures back then.
Which countries did you visit?
We did
Right.
2 tours in Italy, 2 London club tours in Italy, where we hit most of the Italian cities. We went to Tokyo.
Wow, what was that like?
It was crazy, man. Like, we're talking about the late 80s in Tokyo. We were over there for a fashion show for a fashion house called Men's Tenoras. And you know, it was just freaky being like 3 blonde-haired black guys in Tokyo. Like, people didn't know what to do with us. You know, they were fascinated.
Yeah.
There was always this fascination. But it was more like they thought that if they were freaked out by us, like, we were equally kind of, there was a that kind of cultural divide, you know. This was all so new to us.
Yeah.
But while we were there, we were with a big bunch of people. There were like 20 people over there to do this show. There were actors, the dude who starred in a musical called Absolute Beginners, Eddie something or other. He was out there. The guy who would go on to become DJ Fabio, like the one of the biggest names in drum and bass in the UK. He was out there. One of the guys from the Pasadenas, like chart topping British soul act, he was out there. There was a whole bunch of people from different areas of entertainment, you know. And so it was like, it was kind of an honor to have been chosen. We were all chosen by a guy called Chris Sullivan, who ran the WAG Club at the time, which was a club in central London that everybody in our scene went to.
Yeah.
It was just, one of those places. Like, Prince showed up there one night, and people like that, It was a cool spot. So he took us out there, but something happened, and he wasn't able to actually be at the show. So we're out there, and there's no creative direction. So now we have to choreograph. We have to choreograph the show while we're out there.
So you know kind of improvise your way?
Yeah. Well, we choreographed it, man. We did it. We worked together, and we put the show together, and it was great. It was a great show.
Awesome.
It was it was really interesting seeing the Japanese way of working. Like, I've never seen anything like that.
How did that stand out to you?
People were so everybody was so deeply invested. Like, simple mistakes created huge repercussions. Like, I remember during the fashion show, they wanted us to wear particular underwear, and my underwear went missing, and the girl who was my allotted dresser was just like she had to have a nervous breakdown because she couldn't find them, So we were dealing with that behind stage too.
Wow.
Girl in tears, like, like her career's over. That kind of stress and
Wow.
dedication to the details.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was pretty stunning to see that.
So how long were you guys in Tokyo for?
A week.
Wow.
We stayed there a week. Like I said, there was a big group of us that went out there, but
Mm-hmm.
after we left, there were a few people stayed behind, and it was a different experience for them. You know, they were on their own, and they definitely came across a different kind of, really, an isolation. You know,
Mm.
they felt very isolated. I'm not saying that that's the general experience of people in Tokyo on their own, but if you don't know, you know, if you're not of a personal disposition yourself to break the ice with people, or if you don't know a bunch of people,
Yeah.
you know, that stuff can wear on you. The isolation can wear on you.
So they stayed behind because of the experience
They
that
wanted
they
to
just wanted to.
hustlers, man,
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
hustlers. You know,
I think there's something about Tokyo, like Japan in general, that I know a bunch of people who, once they experience it, there are stories that they experienced Japan first time, and they're like, I ain't coming back. And that's, until something like the isolation happens, uh, life in general happens, and then there's more to it than the short period I spent, and then that decision has to be made. Either I fully commit to it, or I'm out of that bubble, that that 1 week, 2 weeks, or 1 month bubble
Yeah.
that they thought that, oh, this is the whole country. So yeah, there's a guy who I thought I would even interview him, but he used to have a channel on YouTube, Black Experience Japan, and he interviewed a whole lot of black folks who moved from all over the world to Japan, and I got to witness a lot of that. But I do know a lot of people.
Racism.
It's some of it, yes, but some of it is there's the cultural, because a lot of people use the language of, there's the racism, but their racism is a little bit weird, that all foreigners get it. They hit all foreigners the same, not just like, oh, you black, so you get it separate from white. But at the same time, there's layers to it.
Of course.
However, there are some people who like, yeah, I ain't leaving. Like, I've seen people interviewed on that channel. They've been there for 20, 30 years. There's one guy who I'm trying to get on the podcast. He just moved back he married a Japanese lady, and they're now in Atlanta. But he was there for like 20 years plus, had kids, and then they moved back. There's the guy who actually makes the t-shirt I'm wearing right now. He's like that. He got stationed there and set up base in Tokyo. It's like, yeah, I ain't coming back.
Right.
So, and he's been on the podcast, and we became friends afterwards. And yeah, so anytime I need a t-shirt, he designed a t-shirt for me and sends it. So I'm like, wow, you're not coming back. And then there's another guy who he actually works for I've forgotten the city he's in. He's like on their tourism board or something like that. He's an outgoing personality. Very, if you go on his social media, he's a very funny guy. But I think now he's just opened a bar. But he's not the type who like, oh, hides all that kind of. But he can tell, he can break it down to you, the layers of how he had to be comfortable being like the only black person in this town where he moved to. But he's that type of person that can navigate that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So he tells you, like,
Not
oh, if you
everybody
want to
can.
come, these are the kind of things. Now, if you want to stay in Tokyo, you see a whole lot of people there. Go stay there. If you want to come to where I am at, this is what you deal with. Be ready. So I'm like, oh, so when you watch that channel, you see people talk like these. People like they give all the stories, and you're like, oh, it's very real. It breaks that bubble of something like, around the time when you guys went, stuff like that wasn't out there.
Yeah.
I've seen a black lady who's a lawyer out there, and she helps people who like, oh, Japanese women are all nice, and there's something called divorce. It happens. And then when there's divorce, their custody laws don't work like American custody laws. Then you find out, oh, you need a lawyer on that side who knows how to navigate that, and that's her business. So I was like, oh. So I learned a lot watching that channel, and I was like, oh, okay.
I mean,
sense.
yeah, you're right. It's not it's not any particular race. I remember I met when I was out there, I met a white model who was out there through her agency. She was doing shows and stuff, and she was so lonely, you know. She was so lonely. So we kind of struck up a friendship for the time that I was there. It was pretty cool. I'd go and see her runway shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was grateful to have someone to talk to and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I can relate on that because there's stuff that I have some young ones who are like, oh, I watch anime and all that. Like, and if I hadn't seen that channel, I wouldn't have seen people who were like, oh, I moved to Japan. Why did you move to Japan? Oh, I watch anime. Okay, that's good. I learned Japanese because I watched anime, and then I arrived there and I was like, oh, it's actually a real place. Yeah, people there, and a lot of them haven't seen people like me before, and they're like, "Oh, we got questions now."
Yeah,
and some of them, when you sit down the train, they're like, they move like they have.
Hey,
but
you know what I mean?
Guess what? Some still
same
be
thing
curious,
happens over here.
you know. But it's a little bit different from here. But at the same time, they move away. But someone else is staring at you, and then you speak Oh, you speak Japanese? Okay, I move back. I did meet. There was, I used to be in the Navy, and when I was stationed in the Middle East, a former shipmate of mine, he was married to a Japanese woman. When he got transferred, he came from Japan. He got transferred from Japan to where I was in the Middle East, Bahrain.
Right.
And he was one of those that married a Japanese woman, and they arrived, and he had told me she just had a baby, so she had to wait for like 3-4 months before she came with the baby. And he was like, oh, she's living a cultural thing, but they do love black people, but they're fascinated. It's a fetish with some of them.
Right.
So I didn't get it at first, but every time I came around, she just started giggling. But she'll be like bowing down. I always found at first it was cool, and then by the third day I was like, man, okay, this is getting too much. Like, every time I said something, she would giggle and then bow down. I'm like, girl, calm down. The greeting was cool. You have to be doing this. And then one day she whispered something to her husband, and he's like, I don't know how to say this to you. I was like, is this your way of asking for a threesome, or what the hell is about to happen right now? I don't get it. And it's like, my wife is a little bit shy about. She has a request for you, and she said something in Japanese. I was like, yeah, I don't understand what you said. I know you can speak English though. Like, she loves your eyebrows, and she, like, Japanese women don't have eyebrows. Like, it doesn't grow for them. And she just like to touch your eyebrows, but she doesn't want to just rush touch it without permission. I was like, that's what she's been struggling to say for like 5 minutes. And she just, and then she run and go hide in the corner. It looked like a 5-year-old girl. I was like, wow, this is, you know what? Let me put you out of this misery. Hey, girl, go, all right. Normally I don't do that for people, but go get it out of the way. Maybe this is going to make you the happiest woman in the world. I don't know, but all right. And I was like, that. This is real. Wow. And she came out.
Your eyebrows are just that sexy, bro.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean? But when I was a teenager, I've been in the western part of Nigeria, and the women were talking about it. And as a teenager,
they're legendary.
Then it used to touch. So I shaved everything out out of rebellion. Like, man, I'm tired of women talking about my eyebrows. So I shaved all of it. So it's not even as long as it once was. Yeah, because since then it never grew back to the point where they were all touching. But after that reaction, I was like, damn, if you had seen what it was when I was a teenager, you would have just collapsed. Because I was like, damn, but that was a good reaction that I got. But I guess if I had been over there, I don't know what reactions I would have gotten. But then she was like, women have surgeries to have like black people's eyebrows. I was like, I don't know if I wanted that information, but that's good to know. But Yeah, but she was from Nagasaki.
Right.
So, but it's something that sometimes you get the good side, you get some, and
Yeah.
there's
I
some
mean,
wild stuff that I know too.
I had a really good time out there. We
Yeah.
did. It was pretty wild. You know what I mean? We had a good time, like in the different parties and clubs that we got invited to. The nightlife was bubbling, you know. But like I said, we were moving in our own with our own group. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There was a big group of us at the time. I do have friends. I mean, met some lovely people, Japanese people. But nowadays, I do have friends that have married Japanese women and have moved out there and have been out there for some time now. You know, and love it.
Oh yeah, I got friends like that too, and you know, that's not the number one reason for moving out there.
Mm.
Marry a Japanese woman. That's one. That's the final reason why I never got stationed in Japan, because I started seeing that happening. It was like, nah, I ain't gonna get married. I can't fall for a Japanese woman. Then they get stationed there, like next thing Facebook profile photograph changes to yep. They're like, oh
Mm.
no, they got you too. Yeah, like, hey man, you should come be stationed here. I was like, no, I'm gonna be next thing. In a relationship. Nah, but I wish I'd gone though. I wish I'd gone. I would have. Yeah, I was a knucklehead too. So yeah, but no, I'm happy for all the guys that I know. Although like 4 of them are divorced now, unfortunately, but that is part
Mm.
of life. So if it happens, it happens. They're still the ones who happy marriages, but beautiful kids came out of it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Japan is supposed to be one of the countries that are asking for people to emigrate over there to try and
yeah,
boost their
aging population.
yeah,
So
they need to
hey,
boost their infancy rate.
so they get it. Some of my friends been helping them out. That's I could have helped them a long
Exactly.
time ago, but I'm taking now. But you can make me a good offer at the same time. I'm available to be bribed.
With those eyebrows, bro,
My eyebrows,
you're gonna be getting like top offers all day.
ah. So, with that being said, how did
Yes.
you end up in New York City? What made you make that move?
Ooh, okay, this is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right. So I had a publishing deal with Chrysalis. Um, well, before that, I had a band called the Vibe Tribe, a 13-piece live band,
Mm.
and we had toured. We played a whole load of venues up and down the UK. We had supported different artists like Royers and Guru um and The Roots, Far Side. Um and got to a stage where I wanted to um go solo, and so I got a publishing deal, and I was working on a album with a producer. We'd formed a group called
Scooby.
Scooby,
Like
and
Scooby Doo?
like Scooby Doo,
Oh.
and also like Scooby was also like code for weed as well at the time.
Ah.
And so we formed this group, and we got a publishing deal with Chrysalis, and um, there was some time taken off during the summer, and then after the summer we were gonna come back and finish up the album and take it from there. And during the summer, I discovered that um, my other bandmates decided that they wanted to take it in a different direction, and I was no longer in the band. This is after like writing all the material and everything. Me,
Oh wow.
I wrote all the material,
Yeah.
and so I mean, for a little while, um, I looked into doing a solo thing. But then there were like a rapid succession of earthquakes that happened in my life, and people were dying.
Oh no.
You know, drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Several people who were friends of mine died, and I was at the thing that this made me decide to come to New York. I was at a wake for one friend who committed suicide, and while we're in there, like all mourning the passing of my friend, the news came that that very day someone else had
Oh.
committed suicide. Another
Wow.
friend
Wow.
in the same circle,
Yikes.
you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what is um, creating this atmosphere. Um, but I don't think it's healthy, clearly, and I need to go and be somewhere healthier, more positive. And so I decided, like, that after hearing the news of the second friend's death,
Yeah.
I was like, I think someone had offered me to me come to Brooklyn before that. And that was when I decided, yeah, I think I'm gonna try Brooklyn.
Had you been to Brooklyn before?
Yeah, I had. Due to the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we came out here with a house kind of act called Sweet. It's a song called Sweet Harmony by an act called Liquid that got quite high up in the British charts.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Because we used to get British charts in Nigeria.
Yeah, it was a big tune. And so I came out here with him. We came out here to do a video for a singer called Starlina. Um, I came out here, and I came out here another time to just hang out with a friend of mine who went on to become like one of the biggest artists out of the UK, called Hassan Hajjaj. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's like, he's a photographer and just a style creator.
Nice.
Become really large recently. So I've been out here maybe 3 or 4 times before.
The name's not.
I
I was
decided
searching my
to.
database. I can.
Yeah, Hassan
I
Hajjaj.
probably have, but it's not ringing a bell.
Yeah,
right now.
everybody's worked with him. It's crazy. Very proud of what he's managed to accomplish.
So, what's your first impression on your first or second visit to whichever visit that got you to spend more time in New York, Brooklyn, before you decided to move here?
Yeah, that was probably the trip that I came out here with Hassan. He showed me a lot of stuff, mostly in Manhattan, not so much Brooklyn at the time. But I had a friend who lived in Brooklyn, so I came out to Brooklyn to visit her at the same time. And interestingly enough, she was like, I just got this demo of this artist that you should really listen to on a cassette. And she gave me the demo on cassette, and guess who it was? D'Angelo.
What?
D'Angelo, bro.
Oh man.
So I was listening to his stuff mad early. But yeah, Hassan, when I came with Hassan, at the time he had a clothing label called RAP, Real Artistic People.
Ah,
And he was
I heard of
working
that
with
before.
555 Soul and all these different brands that were big at the time. And so I'd come out and we'd hang out and we'd go to parties, and he knew different production companies, and you know, and while I was here, I was like, I think that I think I could, if I was here, I could make it work. Like I think I could find a way to make it work here. But I had no intention of moving at the time. And then fast forward a few years, and the just the mood in England was so different, so much darker. And I was like, I got an offer of somewhere to stay in Williamsburg, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. So that was really the motivator. I was just trying to, I feel like I need to rescue or protect my happiness in a
Yeah,
way.
which is very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Very, very important. Please, people, do that.
I agree.
Do not put your happiness to the wayside and forget the main source of, you know, happiness is a source of fuel, just like everything else. You need happiness in your life to balance out everything else that's going on.
True.
So protect it and treat it as the valuable thing that it is.
So, was there a possibility of moving to a different city in the United States other than New York?
Um, well, it's taken a while for me to accept that yes, there are other places in America than
No, no. I
Brooklyn.
mean, before you moved to New York City,
Mm,
like going back now.
no,
Yeah, there
no,
was
there was no other place.
no that
It
place.
had to
Yeah.
be New York.
Okay.
And then when I was listening to artists like Biggie,
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, I'm digging Brooklyn. You know,
Hey,
I'm
Brooklyn,
digging the
number one
Brook. I'm
borough.
digging the Brooklyn vibe here. So when I got a chance to move out here, and it was Brooklyn, I was like, okay, that's where I want to be. And so came out here, moved to Williamsburg, and I've been here now for, I don't know, maybe 28 years, something like that.
So, what would you consider your favorite New York moment or experience to be?
Favorite New York moment. Um, it's been so many. Um, there's been so many. Actually, when it comes to New York itself, um, one of the things I love is the plethora and the multitude of musical free events in the
Mm,
summertime.
that's true.
I love it.
That's true.
That has that's a jewel in New York's crown. Um, that a lot of other places they don't have it. They don't really think about having it. And I don't think they realize the difference it makes to a city. To have all these great artists, um, accessible, accessible artists, um, wonderful performances for free. It's an amazing gift, really.
It is.
It's an amazing gift to the people, to the populace. Um, but break it down to one moment or one particular thing. Okay, all right. I think one of my most memorable moments was after 9/11, when people were really depressed and scared
Yeah.
and unsettled and rocked by what had just happened, unsure of what happens next. I was doing a party in Williamsburg at a place called Black Betty. And I used to do like Friday nights, did Friday nights there for like maybe 5 years. And one night, it was a night maybe a week after 9/11.
Yeah.
It was the Friday. And you know, I wasn't like people really want to come out to, you know, party, and do people really want to, you know, dance now? And yes, they did. You know, they came out, and if they danced, they cried, they sang. You know, that was one of my sort of it was a wonderful moment where you could visibly see the healing process taking place, and people attempting to look forward a little bit and connecting with their hope and their optimism again. You know, it was important. It was important. The whole city was going through that. That was a microcosm of what was happening in many different ways across the city. And I felt very privileged to be a part of any positivity that was going to try and be lifting people up at the time.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I could end the podcast right there. Cool. That was that was gonna be tough to top. Oh
Yeah.
man, but that's
Seen a lot of
beautiful.
things in this city, man. You know, been here for a very over the years, all these different situations that just have bonded me in a way to New York. I have a home in London, but this thing in New York is my home as well. You know, they're both as important to me, and I love them both. I've experienced a lot of different things out here. You know, like I don't have any family in the States, so most of the time you know, it's different experience when you're somewhere and you don't have family. You are pretty much, you have no umbilical in a way. It feels like you have no umbilical cord attaching you, or not as strong as one as you would like. But you know, I guess that was what Facebook was for. Facebook reconnected me with everybody. You know, that was a crazy moment too.
Yeah, well, before the owners decided it's not what we thought it was for, because it's completely something else now.
Right. But at the time, like, it definitely, you know, when I needed to reconnect with my peoples from all over, that was the vehicle that enabled that to happen. And
Yeah.
grateful for that.
Yeah,
You know, grateful for that.
I agree. I'm grateful too, because it connected me with a whole bunch of people. Yeah, that I never thought I would. You know, I thought I'd lost to time, and then
All of a sudden, there they are.
yeah. So, well, Thank you, Zuckerberg, for that. And then still, I give you the middle finger because
Yeah,
you didn't know when to. You could have stopped there, but
they never do.
they never do.
They
They
never ever
never
do.
do. So, man, I could talk to you all day, but I got to start rounding this up. Oh, we definitely got to bring you
Wow.
back because
Yeah, we
what,
haven't even penetrated what's going on, man. Like
man.
the recent stuff.
Nah, we're not gonna get to that today. We're not gonna. But don't worry. Y'all write in and ask for more so that I bring Kev back to get more.
I would
But
love to come back and tell more.
there's some stuff I gotta ask you before we officially wrap up this episode today.
Okay.
Um, Usually I use this question to s- stir up some controversy.
Uh-oh.
However, it's gonna be difficult with you because you're a professional dancer and you've been in you're a professional writer, artist. So yeah, this one is there's no way to even stir up the controversy right now. It's gonna be because
We'll see.
usually the way I ask this question is, everybody who comes on this podcast, we assume you're a dancer. If you say you don't dance, we stop recording and we'll kick you out of the studio. But now I can't do that. That doesn't fly anymore because this is when the guest usually says, "Oh yeah, I dance sometimes. I dance when nobody's looking." But now I can't even use that threat. It doesn't fly anymore. So anyway, I just go straight to my music question.
Sure.
So we need you to give us 3 artists that you enjoy. However, there's a caveat, or 3 artists that can keep you dancing for at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But the caveat is you can't name the most popular artist. You can't give us, the most popular names. You can't give us, you can't give us the hottest names. And you can't give us hottest names from the past. You can't give us hottest names from the present. You gotta give us names that can, you know, let the audience discover something.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you can't give us the Michael Jacksons, you can give
Mm-mm.
us the Beyonces, you can give us Afro beats. No, there are people naming all the Afro beats. I'm like, okay, that's out. Out. You can give us Amapiano too. But I love us. Amapiano is like one of my favorite. But you gotta give us something that people have probably never heard before. And
All
Soul to
right.
Soul is also ruled out too. So
Okay. So first of all, I would say um artists. Well, Roy Ayers is always close to my heart as an artist. Um
yeah, but doesn't it count as
as a too big a name?
mm-hmm.
Is that too big a name?
I'm saying, I mean,
All right.
we
All right,
gotta
let's
get
move
the
it. Let's all right, let's go
we gotta
deeper.
put him on the scale of the gods and way up. Yeah. It's too. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So let's go a bit deeper. Um I would say one of my favorite albums is by an artist called Johnny Hammond.
Hmm.
It's called Gears. And from the days when I used to go to jazz funk clubs and stuff, Johnny Hammond Gears, that whole album I loved. Like it's exquisite. If you haven't checked it out before, I would strongly advise that you go and take a listen.
All right.
It ranges through all kinds of different musical styles, but so deeply funky and so deeply influential.
Hmm.
Like a lot of artists have expressed their love for him. Like Jamiroquai and
Oh, that's
yeah,
a name I haven't heard in a minute.
yeah, artists like
Is
that.
he still alive?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, he's
I
still
wasn't trying to
out
kill him
there.
or anything, but it's just like I haven't
Yeah,
heard from him.
Jamiroquai hasn't released any. Yeah, I don't think he's released anything major in a while, but he had a good long run,
Yeah.
you know, and he could still pack out. You know, people still would love to see him live. The next artist I would say there's an artist called Omar
Omar.
in the UK.
Okay.
a singer, has been around for a long time. Um, he started, I believe, in the like late 80s,
Mm.
and he's still going today, releasing music.
Oh wow.
His music is a mixture of funk, reggae, African influences, hip hop, and but just blended in such a unique way,
Nice.
you know, and always in a way that makes you just wanna.
You can't sit still.
Yeah, you can't sit still, man. Like,
gotta
you know,
move.
he always manages to get me,
All right.
you know,
All right.
enduring.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, always manages to get me. Omar.
Omar.
Yeah,
That's with an O.
check out Omar from the UK.
Okay.
I believe he last year he was over here. I was so mad because one of the dates got cancelled, so I couldn't go and see him.
Oh no.
He was performing in Harlem last year, and the date got cancelled and I missed it. But if you get a chance to see him live, go and see him live. Or if not, like check out his albums, man. Like especially like the first 3-4 albums that he made. He's still making great music today, but those albums were groundbreaking at the time for me musically. And the third artist that I would like to tip my hat to, I want to make this. I want to honor a woman for the third artist. But which woman should I honor?
A woman from Tottenham.
I could. All right. Let me.
Greek.
I think I'm gonna tip my hat to Janet Kay, who was who a style of reggae music was birthed in London called Lovers Rock
Oh,
in the late 70s.
Lovers Rock.
Yeah. And
I heard of that.
and she made possibly the most um the most hallowed, the most admired, the most remembered lovers rock tune for that era, which is called Silly Games.
That's probably a song that I've heard.
Yes, Janet Kay,
multiple
Silly
times
Games.
on Nigerian
Reminds me of all
radio.
the reggae parties I used to go to when I was a youth, all the blues dances with the dreads, you know, in Tottenham and North London. Heavyweight Sound. I remember going to Heavyweight Sound, and a whole load of different sounds that were killing it.
Yeah.
At the time, when sound system culture was huge in the UK. But Janet Kay, yeah, check out Silly Games if you haven't heard it.
I'm definitely
a perfect microcosm of a time and place.
Nice. Very good recommendation. See, that's why I like to. It worked.
Yeah.
My style worked.
So
So
I should have named some new artists too, because I like, you know, there's a lot of new artists creating some really good music.
Give us one.
One. Let me think. All right. I would say Tall Black Guy.
That's the name?
That's his name.
Oh, I was about to say, who's that? There's actually a tall black guy who's on my street, and he's part of a group.
Right.
He's an artist. I was like, wait, are you trying to describe that guy, or is that the artist? But that's
the name of the artist.
Okay,
Tall black guy.
Wow.
Makes music that reminds me of the music that I fell in love with originally. You know,
Yep.
it has the same kind of
What
vibe
music
to
was
it.
that?
Well, he mixes a lot of soul and funk. In he chooses to source his music from those kind of eras. A lot of
Oh,
it.
okay.
You know, re he remixes classic tunes as well.
Hmm.
But he's just got a really, really cool sensibility when it comes to creating beautiful music.
Now, is he really that tall?
Hmm?
Is he really that tall?
He's really that tall, bro, and he's really that black,
All right.
and he's really that much of a guy.
Okay. So he's keeping up. It's
Yeah,
not false
all
advertising.
three, not all fours. No,
Okay.
he's correct on all 3 points.
All right. So, second to the final question.
Yes,
You in New York City? You in
yes,
Brooklyn?
yes.
When it comes to your favorite go-to cuisine, what's that? Got to betray some culture right now.
My favorite cuisine is the same as it was in London, which is Caribbean food,
No. We're not going to do
yard
that.
food,
No. Caribbean's a whole, what, 24 countries?
Jamaican food,
No, you got to pick one. Go by one country so the rest
Jamaican food.
can write in and say, hey, ain't one of us, we're going to protest this guy. And I'll be like, all right, I'll give you his
I have to draw.
address and you can go
Okay,
after
you're
him.
asking me to draw a line in the sand,
Hell yeah.
and the line will be
Controversy got to
drawn.
come
The
out.
line will be drawn around Jamaica.
Jamaica.
That's what.
Stand
That's the food that my
10
mum
toes
makes.
down on
10
Jamaica.
toes down on Jamaican food.
All right,
Yeah,
you heard it from him.
absolutely.
You
Yard food, as we call it.
Yard food. All right.
Mhm.
So when I buy my Jamaican jersey,
Your
I'm
rice
about to
and
buy
peas,
Jamaican shit.
your
I'm gonna say
curry
yard food. It's about
jerk
me.
chicken,
Jerk chicken.
mhm,
That was actually the first
dumpling.
food. The first food I had in America at the restaurant was roti.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you asked me if it was goat roti or chicken roti. I said, "Give me that goat."
But I'm upset though because I think my favorite Jamaican restaurant, which was on Fulton Street, is closed.
Oh no!
Yeah,
On Fulton.
yeah. It was called it was called Tasty Patty.
Oh
It
dang!
was on
Did I
Fulton
ever
Street,
try
just
that?
across from Restoration Plaza, and I think it's closed, man. You know,
Man, it's tough time for restaurants, man. It's
very tough
very,
time.
it's yeah, it's not easy for them.
Very
It's
tough
not.
time for restaurants, man. I wish, yeah, I'm hoping that it's just a temporary situation and that it will reopen.
Yeah, I hope so too. 'Cause I love to go try their parties. It's I don't try.
They weren't even making patties no
They
more,
weren't?
man. That's
Oh,
funny. There's
okay.
like a patty shortage going on in New York right now.
Oh man, don't break my heart like that.
I had
Don't
to
do that.
switch. I had to switch to Haitian
Yeah,
patties.
I got a Haitian sister who she hooked me up on that, so I can't allow blasphemy against theirs right now because sometimes I get free parties from them. So,
No, I had to switch to. I love the Haitian patties, man.
yeah, I love. I mean, I still swear we call it meat pie.
Meat pie.
Yeah, it was until I met my Trinidadian sister that she was like, "Why you call that? It's parties." I was like, "What the hell wrong with you?" Man? It was just when I was like a year in America, and that's how we got into a fight. But I mean, she's still buddy for me. But
yeah, she didn't break off the friendship.
yeah. But I did
It's
learn.
just one of those cultural slip ups.
Because I took a bite. I was like, "Girl, this meat pie." No,
It's a patty.
It's a patty. I was like, it has chicken patty. It has goat, beef patty and
Fish patty.
fish patty. I was like, yeah, it's fish pie then. And what the hell wrong with you people? She's like, what? I was like, oh, man. But yeah, I learned. Eventually. I was like, okay, you guys got it. But in Nigeria, I still call meat pie. Fish pie. We like being
whatever it's
extra.
called, man, as long as it's delicious.
There you go. There you go. So, my brother, thank you for talking with us today. Yeah, this is definitely
Thank you.
part one. This is definitely part one. We're going to
The
bring you
time
back
just
again.
the time just zipped by, man.
Hey,
I was like,
that's what happens when.
Have we started yet?
Hey, that's what happens when the chemistry is good. We got two cool people chatting. But we got to wrap it up so
Yes.
that other people can come in here and record. So, final question.
Okay.
What would you like to leave the audience with? It's your freestyle moment. If you want to drop a rap, if you want to, sing, it's up to you. But your final thing.
What do I want to leave the audience with? Let me
Drop a poem. It's up to
I
you.
have a little bit of a poem.
Yeah.
I can do I think I can do the first verse.
Okay.
And it was about like I told everybody about the Greek girl
Yes.
at school. But my first serious time I fell in love, like the first, like as an adult, this poem is about her. And I can only remember I'm only going to remember the first verse right now.
No worries.
If I, hopefully. All right. It goes like this. She was perpendicular, peculiar, irregular, acutely unfamiliar, like strange fruit. Shoot from the hip, kick like jackboot, fly without the parachute, spacewalk without the suit. Could she be an escapee from a mental institute? Or have I the crazed eye, hypnotized in pursuit, on a mad dash, like the crash bandicoot? Dynamite lives like nights in Beirut, electricity. I don't know if I'm really ready to handle this. But from the first kiss, we were lunatics, progressed to sex power trips. She was Betty Blue to my black Heathcliff. Thank you very much, Raphael.
My man. Look, if I had written that, man, I probably could have gotten that Bahraini princess that I tried once. I once wanted to catch when I was in the Middle East, but my wife already knows the story, so she cool with that. But yeah, that's why I don't own an oil field in the Middle East right now. But I didn't know how to compose words like that. But hey,
thank you.
as we say, umbana in my language.
Thank you, WLA.
Hey, my wife's people say Dankeschön. And
Dankeschön.
Yeah, do you have anything you would like to plug in?
Okay. So we didn't even get to the part where about my organizing of parties and stuff. Stuff that we're doing nowadays. But
we're definitely doing the part 2. We're going to talk about all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would definitely love to come back for a part 2.
I owe you that.
We have our storytelling sessions in Flatbush. So if you go to @gallery particular on Instagram, you can get updated on that. Or if you come to my Instagram page @comrade_cav, @comrade_cav on Instagram, you'll be able to get informed of our storytelling session. If you want to tell a story, come through, please. Welcome you. And then also we have a reggae party happening in Atlanta at Miss Icy's in Decatur, and that's Reggae Rewind. And the next Reggae Rewind party will be on at December the 7th in Atlanta, Saturday, December the 7th. And again, come to my Instagram page to find out details for that @comrade_cav, @comrade_cav. We will be having a big New Year's Eve party that I throw with my I Wonder crew. And the reggae party, Reggae Rewind, will also be launching in January in NYC as well. And you can find out all these details at Comrade Cav on Instagram.
Awesome. I got to send that information to my twin who lives in Atlanta. She's called my twin, but we're not biological twins. But, yeah. So she'll definitely come out to that.
Please.
And when you meet her, you're going to be like, God damn. God damn. Yeah. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the links will be in the show notes. So if you didn't catch it, the links will be in the show notes and you can definitely check all of them out. And please do. And he's a great guy. Go support, keep supporting the show.
And support White Label American as well.
Do that.
It's super dope, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. Thanks for asking me to come and participate. I've had a great time. The time has just whizzed by.
Hey. Well, Kev will be back. Trust me. You see it in great movies. I'm telling you right now, Kev will be back. He's going to be a recurring guest. We're going to have him here with Ashwin, our number one guest who always comes back all the time. And, Kev and
For
Ashwin
sure.
on the same podcast.
I would be
know
happy
you
to.
guys will love that because Ashwin will have plenty of questions for Kev. So trust me on that. So with that being said, keep the love coming in. Share with your friends. Check out our merch, donations, 5-star reviews. If you give 4-star, you're a hater. You know that. Right? So why bother? So thanks for being part of our journey.
5 stars.
Thanks for the privilege for your company. Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, please give a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. You can follow the show on all social media platforms. Visit the White Label American website for links for donations, episodes, feedback, guests, merch, and newsletter. Don't forget to download the free White Label American app on the Google Play Store and Apple coming soon. Thank you for the privilege of your company.